Hey all, welcome back to the channel. It is Pierre, Simple Homebrew. I am doing a video on hydrometers. If you haven't used a hydrometer before, essentially a hydrometer is a tool for measuring liquids' density or specific gravity compared to water. This video is going to consist of how a hydrometer works, how to read it, and how to use it and do the calculations. Alright guys, let's get to it. What is a hydrometer? Essentially, it's a tool for measuring liquids' density or specific gravity compared to water. A hydrometer can have different forms such as a glass tube or plastic with a weighted base and an internal scale. The purpose of this is as you drop it into the liquid, it floats and then sinks to a level that correlates to the liquid's density. The more sugar you have, the denser it will be, so the higher the hydrometer floats. As the yeast eats the sugar, the alcohol increases, making the fluid less dense. This causes the hydrometer to sink. Okay, I'm going to just show how everything works. I've got a graduated cylinder. This is a 250ml graduated glass cylinder, and this is a 100 milliliter. The reason why I'm not using that is it's not clear, but this one is. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to show you with water anyway, and tell you what to look for when you're actually pouring the water in. First thing you do is put it onto a level surface, just like that. Probably turn it away from the actual milliliter graduations. Okay, grab the hydrometer and just put that in first. When you're doing beer, you should always put the hydrometer in first because it floats and it actually takes up space. So if you fill it up with beer or wort, you could overfill it and it will overflow, which is fine. It just makes a mess, you know. Anyway, I'll top her up. Now I'm using water. Now water is the baseline of a graduation on a hydrometer, so it should read 1.000 on the actual hydrometer. I'll just turn on my water and top it up. Just bring it up until it starts to float. That red line up top there should be the maximum line before it starts floating. So I'll bring it up. See, it's starting to float now. I'll bring it up high. So it doesn't matter what size vessel it is, could be huge or little, it'll still float the same. So as it bounces around, you just got to fling it a little bit, zoom it, as you can see this, or if you can see it, there's little bubbles in the actual water. That will cause it to float. I mean, it's not going to make a big deal or big difference to the actual reading. It's going to be very minute and minuscule. When you look at your hydrometer, there's a lip of water that rides up the hydrometer. Now that's called a meniscus. Below that meniscus line is the actual fluid level line. You read from that. At the moment, it's reading, if you can see it with the camera, probably can't, it's reading 1.000 at the meniscus top. So 1.0, this is a big problem with these two. They do tend to spin and become a pain in the butt. Volume, here it is there. So that's your 10. Look, it's right on the line. It is actually spot on the line. If you look underneath the actual water line, you can see it. Wow, it's actually 1.000. That hydrometer is accurate. So why do we use a hydrometer? Well, accurate measurements of alcohol production is essential to ensuring the right alcohol content and sweetness level in the beer or wine. You can use this method to check your starting gravity, beginning gravity, beginning before fermentation, something like that. We call it SG, starting gravity. That will give you a first reading on what kind of sugar levels you have in your beer. Now, there are many different types of sugars. Some don't ferment and some do. Depending on the sugar you've used in your beverage will depend on how much alcohol you have. Starting gravity could be 10 or 1.050. And then the finishing gravity could be, let's say, 1.014, which is a reduction of about 36 points. Now you've got your reading, you now need to find out what kind of alcohol you're going to have in your beverage. The best way, the easiest way, is to go onto a website like Brewer's Friend, chuck in your reading, let's say it was 1.050, and then wait until your fermentation's finished. And once you feel that your fermentation has stopped bubbling, stopped movement, grab a sample and check it
with your hydrometer, wait 24 hours and check it again. If your measurement has not changed, your beer is ready to bottle, keg, put away, ready to drink basically. If your measurement has decreased, you need to wait another 24 hours and check again. If it's stable and hasn't changed, then your beer is ready to bottle, keg, or drink. You can drink it straight from the fermenter if you want to. Now you use a calculation, you can use mathematical calculations like this one. With that measurement though, you need to write that in on your Brewer's Friend site. Let's say it finished at 1.014. That will give you 5.25% alcohol volume that you're going to consume and enjoy. So remember, there are many types of hydrometers out there. There are the glass ones, the plastic ones, electronic ones. We have ones that have a lid to flip, I can't remember what they're called, and an easy dent hydrometer as well, which a lot of people buy, very expensive, but it works a treat. It's probably the most accurate way of doing it. All you need to know is that your alcohol is finished fermenting, you are ready to drink it, and you are ready to enjoy a beautiful beverage that you have created by your own hands. So I hope that covers what you guys need to start your homebrew hobby, and I hope you enjoy your beers. I believe that a great beer is a beer you like to drink. Guys, enjoy, and I hope this video has given you some skills that you might need.